for vibing with me. Man, this video is a tough one. I mean, I never met this man ever. This legend of a man. Never met him. When I became a Viking fan, I mean, I'm a 90s baby, so I didn't get to witness the Purple People Eaters. But there's no debate that the man I'm about to talk about, one of the greatest players in football history, one of the greatest players in Minnesota Viking history, R.I.P. to Jim Marshall. December 37 was his date of birth, and he passed away today, June 3rd, 2025. Condolences to his family. And we're going to talk about some of his accolades. We're going to talk about Jim Marshall. He better be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure if he's in the Hall of Fame, but if he's not in the Hall of Fame, the NFL got a lot of things to work on. But, you know, again, condolences to his family. And I've been a Viking fan since the Randy Moss days, Culpepper days. So I don't go as far back as the Purple People days. When they had the Purple People Eaters, that defense that got the team to the Super Bowl 4 times, you know, there has never been a better defense in Minnesota Viking history. The best defense that I have seen, shout out to Daniel in the building, shout out to everybody that's in the building, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. The best defense that I've witnessed being a Viking fan is the William Wall defense. That was the best defense for me. But it's no comparison to the Purple People Eaters. Their defense was on another level. When you talk about Alan Page, Carl Eller, and Gary Larson, there was no defense better than that defense. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. But yeah, but you know what? I'm not going to make this a sad video. I'm going to make this a celebration video of just the amazing player that he was. And, you know, a lot of people, when people pass away, yes, it's very sad, and I understand it. But I'm gonna try my hardest to make sure this video is more of a celebration video for Jim Marshall, because his accomplishments make him legendary in NFL history. His accomplishments make him legendary in Minnesota Viking history. And let's talk about some of his accolades. Let's talk about some of his accomplishments. I believe he's married or was married, and I believe he has a couple of children. I think he has a couple of daughters. So his legacy lives on through them. And like I said, we're going to make this a celebration of his career and of his life instead of being sad and down. You know what I mean? We're going to do that. So let's just get right to it. So let's start it off like this. Defensive end Jim Marshall was part of the famous, and I mean the most famous, or one of the most famous defensive lines in NFL history. You know what I mean? The Purple People Eaters, right? With the great Alan Page, Carl Eller, and Gary Larson. They've been to the Super Bowl 4 times. 4 times, y'all. And this is what's crazy about it, right? We haven't been since. We haven't been to the Super Bowl since. Since then is the last time we went to the Super Bowl. But I think we won a championship before it turned into the Super Bowl, but that doesn't count as a Super Bowl. So he got us to the Super Bowl 4 times. You know what I mean? One of the biggest reasons why we got to the Super Bowl is because of him. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler, you know, and he's in the Vikings Ring of Honor. He also held, before Brett Favre, he also held the consecutive games played. Now I'm getting a couple of different numbers where they're saying he played 282 games, but he started 270 starts. So correct me if I'm wrong if I got those numbers not correct. But like I said, He was before, I think he had the record before Brett Favre. Brett Favre had the record. You know what I mean? Brett Favre had the record before Brett Favre, it was Alan Page. I mean, not Alan Page, Jim Marshall. So Jim Marshall held it until Brett Favre broke it, I think in 2000 and, goshly, I don't even know what year it was. It's 2000 and, I don't know what year it was, but Brett Favre broke it, right? And the 2 times he did make the Pro Bowl, 1968 and 1969, back-to-back Pro Bowls, right? And he won the championship. I think this is the last championship before it turned into the Super Bowl, excuse me, in 1969. And he led the Vikings team, or tied in sacks, from 1961 to 1966. And again, he played in 4 Super Bowls for the Minnesota Vikings, the only Super Bowls in Minnesota Viking history. And we haven't been to the Super Bowl since, and I think we're about to break that trend right now. In 2025, the Vikings will be in the Super Bowl, and we will win the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 60, here we come. And if anybody got a problem, it is what it is. Let's go to the bowl. We're doing it for all the Minnesota Viking fans all around the world. We're doing it for Jim Marshall. We're doing it for all the players that passed away, all the fans that passed away that didn't get to witness a Super Bowl. We're doing it for everybody, bro. We winning the Super Bowl this year. We winning the Super Bowl this year. We tired of waiting. We're going to win the Super Bowl this year. All right, so let's get back to what some of his other accolades, right? And I need someone to leave in the comments. Has he made the Pro Bowl? I mean, not the Pro Bowl. I meant the Hall of Fame. Has he made the Hall of Fame? And if he hasn't, what's the holdup? What's the holdup? All right, let's get to the fumble recovery. You know, this is some. I don't want to really say this. It's not really an accolade, but he's famous for this, as well as his great play. He had a safety against the 49ers because he sprinted the wrong way. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I don't remember that because I wasn't born yet. But he ran it the opposite direction, and the team got a safety because he ran it the wrong way. I'm not sure if anybody remembers that. Bro, the Vikings don't give... Hey, listen, bro. I ain't worried about none of you talking about, bro. I ain't worried about none of you talking about, bro. But shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. Appreciate y'all. All right, so let's talk about the sacks. Shout out to my boy Samuel in the building. Appreciate you, bro. All right, so for his career, and I get different numbers for this when it comes to his career sacks. He's second in Minnesota Viking history with sacks, 127. Then I looked it up again, and it's saying 130.5 sacks. But he's second in the career. He's second to Carl Eller. Carl Eller has the most sacks in Minnesota Viking history. You know what I'm saying? So it's either 127 or 130.5 sacks for my guy Jim Marshall. Big deal, man. Big numbers. And I don't know how he's not in the Hall of Fame if he is in the Hall of Fame right now. Another thing that really got me, and I'm not sure if it's still the record right now in NFL history. It probably still is, because it's a lot. 30 career 30 career fumbles during his career in the NFL. So this man had 30 career fumbles, bro. He making dudes fumble left and right. Definitely one of the best defensive ends in all of football history. Definitely in Minnesota Viking history. This dude's nickname was Iron Man because he played so many games. And another nickname was Captain Jim. You know what I'm saying? Captain Jim, Iron Man. This guy was the real deal. What's going on, Trick Shot? What's going on with you, brother? I'm just talking about one of the greatest football players. He recently just passed away at the age of 87. December 1937 was his birth, and he passed away June 3rd, 2025, today, and 87 years old, man. So we're just talking about him, Hall of Famer. So my question is, I looked it up, he is not in the Hall. Get out of here. How is he not in the Hall of Fame? This is why I just question. This is why I be questioning, like, who determines this? If it's not all time, and listen, I'm not saying people that has never played the game of football, I'm not saying that they shouldn't come up with or decide or vote who gets in the Hall of Fame or not, but I think there should be a lot of people that's already in the Hall of Fame or players that used to play the game of football at the professional level that should be part of this voting staff. Because I don't know how you don't have Jim Marshall in the Hall of Fame. That makes no sense to me. That makes no sense to me, y'all. That don't make no sense. I don't understand it. I'm doing good. I'm a sports fan myself. What's going on, Trick Shot? My team is the Vikings. I'm a Minnesota Viking fan. Everybody in the building, make sure you double tap, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Shout out to Eric in the building. And yes, Jim Marshall has passed away today, 87 years old. But I don't want to make this a sad live stream. This is not supposed to be a sad live stream. Condolences to his family. You know what I mean? R.I.P. to a legend. But I want to celebrate his life. I don't want to be sad about him passing away. I know it's hard to do that when people pass away. I understand that. Kind of like when my grandma passed away a few years ago. Like, probably like 4 years ago, my grandma passed away. And I was like bawling out, crying, and just like, dang, man, it's not going to be the same. But at the end of the day, you got to celebrate their lives. You got to celebrate with their lives. You got to, yes, you got to be, you're going to be sad. You got to get it out. I understand. But we're going to celebrate his accomplishments, his accolades, and we're just going to celebrate the person. You know what I mean? That's what we're going to do on this live stream. But shout out to everybody that's in the building. Appreciate you. Talk that talk. You already know the vibes, bro. New Orleans Saints got a Super Bowl. I don't know about all that, bro. We winning Super Bowl. We winning this Super Bowl this year, bro. That's what's up. I'm a Steelers fan. Hey, listen. I gotta love Mason Rudolph. Hey, listen. I wanted Mason Rudolph to be our backup quarterback. I wanted Mason Rudolph to be the backup quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. But, you know, I'm Philly everything else besides football. You know what I mean? If you a Sixer fan or a Phillies fan, check out my other YouTube channel. It's called Mike Sports Vibes Ballin', where I cover the NBA playoffs and I cover the Sixers and I cover the Philadelphia Phillies. If you're a fan of them, check out Mike MIKE Sports SPORTS Vibes spelt with a Z VIBEZ Ballin BALLING. Check out that channel, man, if you were interested. But how is Chad Ochocinco not in a? Yeah, a lot of players are not in the Hall of Fame, and this is why I question the Hall of Fame. Not questioning the players that's already in, I'm questioning the players that are not in. That's my biggest thing. How? How is he not in the Hall of Fame? Can somebody make it make sense to me, bro? How is he not in the Hall of Fame? How? Every player from the Purple People Eaters, the defensive line, I'm talking about Alan Page, Carl Eller, Gary Larson, and of course Jim Marshall, they all should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know who's not in the Hall of Fame, but I'm going to tell you right now, all four players should and need to be in the Hall of Fame. And it's a big question mark to the people that are voting these players in the Hall of Fame. Either they don't know what the heck they looking at, they don't properly know the game. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm confused. Chad Ochocinco's a good one, though. I'm not into basketball much anymore. I'm mainly into football and hockey. Okay. That's what's up, though, man. I don't really know too much about hockey. I just know the basics, the true basics. I am a Flyers fan, but I don't cover the Flyers on my other channel. I just cover the Sixers, Phillies, NBA playoffs, MLB playoffs, and I might cover the boxing a little bit as well. Not Vikings Super Bowl win. Yeah, we didn't get a Super Bowl win throughout the history of Minnesota Vikings, but we're gonna get it this year, man. We win in Super Bowl 60. But for a player to get to 4 Super Bowls, and he was part of one of the biggest reasons why we made it to the Super Bowl 4 times, and you're telling me he's not in the Hall of Fame, something is seriously wrong. Something is seriously wrong with the voting. I'm a Blues fan, as sad as it is to say. Oh, ain't nothing wrong with that, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But yeah, man, if you just got in the building, make sure you double tap, hit that like button. Again, Jim Marshall has passed away. one of the greatest players in NFL history, one of the greatest players in Minnesota Viking history. And no, I did not get to witness his play because I wasn't born yet. But I'll tell you right now, the history and what he has done for the NFL as a whole, being part of the greatest defensive line, debatably, the Purple People Eaters, you know what I mean? Get to the Super Bowl 4 times. We're going to celebrate his life, you know what I mean? We're going to celebrate his accomplishments, you know what I mean? Again, condolences to his family. Condolences to his family, his loved ones. I know a lot of people are hurt. I know a lot of people are like, wow, you know what I mean? And that's why I always try to tell people life is very short, man. Life is very short. You know what I mean? And you got to be thankful for every day that God wakes you up, man. Jesus Christ wakes you up. You got to be thankful for every day. And like I said, when I was talking about my grandma, man, like, grandma passed away, like, it seemed like it was yesterday, but time flies, man. My grandma passed away probably like 3 years ago. I don't remember how long it's been. But I think about my grandma every day. But I cried and I was sad and I was just like, dang. But I know my grandma would have told me to keep my head up and celebrate the times that we did have. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm not making this live stream a sad live stream. I'm making this live stream a celebration of what this man has accomplished. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could be sad and, like, you know what I mean? It is a sad situation. It's sad. Life is short. That's why I say you got to try your hardest to enjoy life even through the bad times. You know what I mean? Even through the bad times. I know it's hard. Like, I had a situation today. I'm not going to get into detail. That I was stressed out. I ain't going to sit here and cap. I was stressed out earlier today, right? And then I just was praying about it, and things is working out. You know what I mean? Things it's not as bad as we might think it is sometimes. That's what I'm saying, man. And you gotta be grateful for the moments that you do have with your loved ones. You know what I mean? I subscribed, bro. Oh, thank you, bro. Yeah, my mom passed away. Oh my gosh. Oh man, sorry to hear that, Sarah. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I try to just celebrate my grandma. Like, I think my grandma, I was talking to my cousin the other day, like, some of the memories, like, my grandma from Louisiana, and I'm not going to just keep talking about my grandma, but I just got to just get this off my chest. My grandma's from Louisiana, right? And we would always, like, we would travel. We didn't fly to Louisiana. We would drive. We would drive from Pennsylvania to Louisiana, right? And throughout the drive, throughout the trip, whatever, you know what I mean? We would go to Cracker Barrel. Like, just some of the memories. I think we even drove to Florida. We went to Walt Disney. We drove from Pennsylvania to Florida, bro. Like, some of the trips, the road trips, and some of the memories I hold on tight to, and I'm grateful for. I try my hardest not to get sad, even though it does make me sad, because I know I'm not going to be able to see my grandma again. But in my memories, I see her, so. But my whole point is this, man. We got to celebrate our loved ones when they're here, and celebrate them when they're gone too. You know what I mean? None of us is going to be living forever. You know what I mean? That's why you got to make an impact when you're alive, and be kind to people, and just be a good person. I never met any of my. Oh wow. Yeah, I didn't meet my grandpa on my dad's side. I think that's like the only person I didn't really meet. Mike, do you know the? I don't, Eric. But most of my family on my dad's side is from Louisiana. Alexandria, to be specific. You feel me? Alexandria, Louisiana. I'm so sorry. But yeah, Sarah, like I said, we just gotta live. And you know, he has, if I'm not mistaken, y'all, you know, when you do research on Google, some information is accurate, some information it ain't. And they said Jim Marshall has a couple of daughters, so he has kids. You know what I mean? He left a legacy behind. He has kids that's living. You know what I mean? that's living right now. So I'm not saying it makes it any better, but I'm just saying you have kids and, you know what I mean? But I try to celebrate, not really celebrating the death, I celebrate the life. You feel me? That's what I do. Thanks. But yeah, man, Sarah, yeah, I'm sorry about that. That's probably around the time my grandma passed away. It's been a few years, but it just seems like it was, it don't seem that long, but it's been a while. It's crazy how time just flies. You know what I mean? Jen, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? God is coming soon. Thank you so much. So, but shout out to everybody in the building. Again, Jim Marshall has passed away today, June 3rd, 2025. Born 1937 and 87 years old. I didn't get the details of how he passed away. I didn't want to know all of that. I just wanted to get his accolades and refresh my memory when it comes to his accolades in the NFL and his accomplishments, man. But he's one of the greatest players of all time in NFL history. And people got to understand that, you know, I don't know, man. I'm lost for words, man. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. A very interesting day today for me, to say the least. But I had to get on this live stream and talk about Jim Marshall, and I just got a question. Like, I am very confused about the Hall of Fame, the NFL Hall of Fame. And I got to do my research on which players are not in the Hall of Fame that should be in. But if you got one of the members of the Purple People Eaters not in the Football Hall of Fame, we got an issue. Somebody that has over 120 sacks, somebody that got to the Super Bowl four times, somebody that been a Pro Bowler multiple times, somebody that was making people fumble left and right, had 30 fumbles, career fumbles in his career, and I'm not sure if that's the NFL record, but it got to be close. You know, it's just a dang shame, man, when you think about it. And this is why I be wondering, like, who's really the people that come up with the voting stuff? Like, who votes these people in? Like, who chooses who gets in and who doesn't get in? I really question the NFL voters. 40 years old. Oh, man, Samuel. Condolences to your family, bro. Condolences to you, bro. RIP to your brother. January. Man. But, I'm trying not to make this a sad live, but how's everybody doing today? You know, how do you feel about the Vikings this season? How do y'all feel about the Vikings right now? I'm not going to make this a sad live. I'm trying my hardest not to do it. RIP 1976 and 2020. Oh, wow. Wow. RIP, man. Condolences, bro. All right, now there's on a side note, because I said, you know what I mean, we're gonna try to make this a celebration. On a side note, we will win the Super Bowl 60 this year. I don't care what nobody, listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion, who they think's gonna win the Super Bowl. But I'm telling you right now, I feel like the Vikings are close. We got a chance. And I'm hearing a lot of articles. I'll be just looking up, Googling Minnesota just to see what pops up. And the thing about the Minnesota Vikings, again, guess what popped up? Oh, Aaron Rodgers popped up. Oh, the Vikings don't really believe. Who's the one guy that was hating on JJ? And I'm going to have to talk about that tomorrow. I'm going to save that for tomorrow. I'm going to do more research on that tomorrow about the dude that was hating on JJ McCarthy. But people really trying to, like, make it seem like, that's why I can't wait till the season start. Because I can't wait until JJ McCarthy just starts proving everybody wrong. Vikings 13-4 this season. Skull. Yeah, I got us between 10 to 12 wins. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 13. I think this team overall is a better team than last year. Honestly, the biggest question mark is quarterback, but I believe in our quarterback. I believe he can get it done because we haven't seen him play in the regular season. You know what I mean? But I truly feel he's going to have a good second year. He's going to be healthy. He's going to do his thing. And I can't wait because I'm tired of everybody hating on my bull. Like, I'm tired of people hating on J.J. McCarthy. I'm tired of people doubting the Vikings. I just want us to finally start the season so we can prove everybody wrong. I'm tired of it. Only way we can pretty much make all the doubters quiet is by balling out and playing. That's the only way. Until then, people are going to keep on hating. People are going to keep on talking what they're going to say. And that's why we got to beat them with facts and beat them with a I told you so. Because I can't wait to say that. I cannot wait to say we told you so. That J.J. McCarthy was the real deal. I can't wait to say it. And we're going to win this Super Bowl for every Viking player that passed away. We're going to win this Super Bowl this year, Super Bowl 60, for every Viking fan that passed away that didn't witness a Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl. We're going to do it this year, man. I got a feeling, man. Second-year quarterback J.J. McCarthy is going to get the job done. Even though he is the biggest question mark, he's the biggest X factor because I feel like we got the best team overall in the NFL. And I just want him to shut everybody up. I'm just keeping it real. I'm tired of people hating on my bull. Listen, people hate on J. I don't know what's going on. What is it about J.J. McCarthy that people don't like about him? J.J. McCarthy will dominate the NFL. Yeah, I feel you, bro. Skull to the bowl. Skull to the bowl. I'm trying to figure out why people doubt J.J. McCarthy so much. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I guess they always going to have doubts for a quarterback until they play. So I understand that. But it's like the doubts like, oh, we should have kept Sam Darnold. Like, why? Why? Before Sam Darnold came to the Vikings, he was considered a bust. And I don't mean that in no disrespect. Just keeping it real. But I know for a fact, but I'm very confident that J.J. McCarthy is going to get the job done this year, man. Oh, man, Samuel, R.I.P. To your grandma. Condolences, bro. Condolences, bro. But yeah, man. I just feel like a lot of people, they just want to hate on the Vikings for some reason. And maybe because I'm a Viking fan. Maybe they do this to every team. But since I'm a Viking fan, I feel like everybody be hating on the Vikings, bro. I don't know what it is. But again, I'm going to get off this live stream. I want to say this again. This is a celebration of his life. Condolences to his family. All his accomplishments. We celebrating his life and what he accomplished. Mainly, I don't know his personal life. I didn't get into detail about his personal life. I'm just talking about the game of football. What he has accomplished is really second to none, man, to be honest with you. One of the greatest defenses of all time. One of the greatest defensive lines of all time. The Purple People Eaters, Jim Marshall, has passed away. And like I said, we not going to be sad. We going to celebrate his accomplishments on the football field. You know what I mean? We could be sad. Let me take that back. We could be sad. I understand people are going to be sad. But at the same time, we're going to celebrate what he accomplished as well. You know what I mean? And like I said, this man was amazing. His nickname was Captain Jim and Iron Man because he played so many games, never really missed any games throughout his whole career. And He had over 100. He had 127 career sacks, second most in team history, or is it 130 career sacks? I don't know. Two different numbers I looked up. But RIP to one of the greatest defensive ends in NFL history, and especially in Minnesota Viking history. He will be missed. He will be missed. And like I said, we celebrating his accomplishments on that football field. And he should be in the Hall of Fame. Ain't no... Listen, I don't know who's... Listen, I'm going to keep on repeating this. Whoever's coming up with the who's getting in the Hall of Fame and who's not getting into the Hall of Fame, somebody got to figure something out. Somebody got to figure something out. Because they dead wrong. They don't know what they doing. Yeah, talk that talk. You know the vibes, Air. You know the vibes. But shout out to everybody in the bit. I'm going to get off this live stream. Have a wonderful day. Don't let anybody get y'all down. And if you are down, lift your head up. Pray. Try to move forward as best as you can. And life is short, so make sure you enjoy your loved ones, your family, your aunts, uncles, cousins, grandmoms, mothers, fathers, everybody. You know what I mean? Keep God first. And as always, God bless. Have a wonderful day, wonderful evening. I'm out. RIP to one of the greatest players of all time. Jim Marshall, you will be missed. Peace.